What's up, Star Wars fans? It's the Emerald Enthusiast back with another action figure review. This time I'll be looking at the Hot Toys MMS429 1/6 scale Return of the Jedi figure of Luke Skywalker. The box is very basic, although it's not unattractive. There's a gray and black color scheme that you can see on the sides here. On the top and the bottom of the box, we see the Star Wars logo. The box is very slick and glossy. On the back, we get product information. And on the front, we see the Star Wars logo done in silver foil lettering and a product shot of the figure. On the inside of the box, we get this cardboard insert with two close-up product shots of the figure. The figure comes with a plethora of accessories, and I did have a major issue with one of these, and I'll talk about that later in the video. But for now, let's get a closer look at some of these individual accessories. Here is the battle-damaged hand, which Hot Toys refers to as the injured hand. The skin is scorched, and the details on the mechanical parts are very intricate. This accessory snaps into the back of the figure stand, and Hot Toys didn't describe this in great detail, but I believe it's supposed to represent some of these canisters that we saw on the Death Star in Return of the Jedi. Here is the blaster accessory, and this is magnificent. It's very screen accurate. Look at all of the detail on the handle. So that is very impressive. We also get this accessory that represents the cuffs that Luke wore when Darth Vader led him to Emperor Palpatine. We also get this extra set of wrist pegs, and I'm very thankful for these. An unfortunate part of being a figure reviewer is that sometimes figures break, so I'm always thankful to have extra parts like this. We also get two lightsaber accessories. And this is the basic lightsaber. And I really like the way this translucent plastic looks. And you can just pull this out of the lightsaber hilt. And this will allow you to put in the motion blade. And I really like the way that has been constructed. And again, this just ports into the top of the hilt. And it looks like Luke is swinging his lightsaber through the air. And then we get this battery-powered alternate lightsaber-wielding arm. The arm has this little switch, and once it's turned on, it actually provides a light that comes from the lightsaber hilt. And there is that light. While I do appreciate the production of the lightsabers, I will say that I think this light-up function is underwhelming. So I'm going to put each one of these in and then dim the lights to show you what I mean. The light up function is really not that noticeable. I have it on here and I can really only see it down near the hilt. Here is the arm with the motion blade, and it's slightly more noticeable with this blade, but it's still really not that impressive. And the seller from whom I bought this figure communicated to me before I bought it, and he had put new batteries in this arm, so it's not a case of the batteries starting to go dead. It seems to be a case of the light not being very powerful. Here is the base of the figure stand, and it says Star Wars Luke Skywalker, and it still has the plastic on. This figure really was like new, and I got an outstanding deal on it. The base also comes with two additional cards, and this will allow you to change the background in which you display the figure. And this one represents Jabba's sail barge. And then this pillar ports into the base. And this is the one that I'm going to use. This represents the sands of Tatooine. And I really like the coloring on this. I don't plan on taking this pillar in and out very often. As you can see, it's not the easiest thing to get into place. It takes a little bit of muscle. However, once this base is assembled with the cradle wire, I think this is an attractive figure stand. And as I said earlier, this part snaps into the back of the base, and that will allow you to display your figure with this kind of look. And here we see Luke Skywalker, free of the box and ready to rumble. I do have a couple of issues with this figure, but even so, this has instantly become one of my favorite collectibles. I am so happy to own this, so let's take a closer look at the loose details now. So the figure comes with this screen accurate brown cloak, and I really like this material. It doesn't wrinkle. It's a very high quality material. One word of warning though, the hood is held together by a small amount of thread. You certainly wouldn't want to damage this, so be careful when taking the robe off of the figure and putting it back on. Here is Luke in the gray tunic, and let's look at the lower body now. And here are the boots, and these are extremely well done. You can see the light dancing off of the material. These definitely look like the boots in the movie. You can see the stamps on the bottom of the feet. I'm glad those aren't more prominent. The pants are a black, stretchy type of material, and they are certainly screen accurate. Now let's have a look at the torso. And overall, I don't have any issues here other than the fact that the tunic makes him look thicker than he should be. This is not an issue when you take the tunic off. And there's this little pouch on the belt. I like the details on this. The belt is fastened with Velcro, and you simply detach that, and that will allow you to get the tunic off as well. And here you can see the differences in the fabrics between the black top and the gray tunic, and I really appreciate this level of attention to detail. Now let's have a look at the arms, and the musculature is accurate here. I like the way that this fabric folds. The skin on all of the alternate hands is amazing. There's little blemishes and differentiations in paint that make them look real. Of course, right now I have the black gloved fist on the right arm. Again, this material is very eye-catching. It's very screen accurate. And it's also stretchy enough to allow for ample articulation. Now let's have a look at the head sculpt, and I do have one small criticism here, but overall I am blown away with how well Hot Toys was able to capture the likeness of Mark Hamill here. The sculpting work on the chin and the nose and the cheekbones is outstanding. The eyes are very lifelike. You can see the light dancing off of them. The paint applications are superb there. I saw Return of the Jedi in its original theatrical run, and to own something that is so close to the character that I watched is so enjoyable. There's lots of sculpting detail in the hair, and the paint applications are spot on. This looks very realistic. You can see the individual strands of hair. There's a look at the back. And regardless of how you look at this head sculpt, you can tell that it's Mark Hamill from any angle. My only criticism is that the mouth is slightly open, and it gives him somewhat of a surprised look, so I wish that Hot Toys would have gone with a completely closed mouth. So here I have removed the black belt, and there's actually a separate belt, a gray belt that goes around the tunic as well. So here is the figure with the tunic removed, and he now has the look that he had in the final duel with Darth Vader. You can actually unfasten the collar and turn this down, And it feels like there's a wire in here to help this stay in place, so I really appreciate having this option as well. There's also these small Velcro sections on the inside of the belt, and that secures it to the figure's waist. And here's the figure with one of the gripping hands wielding the lightsaber. It's a pretty snug fit, so I appreciate that. And with the opposite hand, he has two fingers extended as he uses the Force. Now I'll talk about my biggest disappointment with this figure. This is the alternate arm with the light up function. And as you can see, this is supposed to be an interchangeable arm. However, when I attempted to change this out, I got this awful squealing sound when I tried to pull it out, and when I tried to twist it, the sound became even worse. And that is not something that a figure collector wants to hear. For fear of breaking that joint, I couldn't change out the arm. This may be a case of a figure that's a few years old. I believe this was a 2018 release, and it may just be that the plastic has settled and the arm can't be changed out without damaging the joint. Here is the figure with the battle-damaged gripping hand, and I really like how eye-catching that is. I believe that this is the hand with which I'm going to display the figure. However, I may eventually pick up a black gloved gripping hand to see how the figure looks with that as well. I should also note that the figure's hair detaches. As you can see, there's a magnet on top of the figure's head, and there's another magnet inside of the hair, and you simply pop this onto the head, and the magnets hold it in place. Now let's have a look at articulation. The feet move backward and forward on the ankle joints, and there is some pivoting. The feet also swivel from side to side. The knees can articulate to this degree. Be careful here, you wouldn't want to rip the pants. There is some quadriceps swiveling, as you can see demonstrated here. The figure can step forward this much. I really wish there were a little more here, but the figure can step back somewhat, so I'm thankful for that. The legs move out to the sides this much. That's a little underwhelming, but I don't plan to do dynamic poses with this figure. There's rotation at the waist and swiveling of the upper torso. The figure can crunch forward and rock backward. Be careful not to stress the belt out here. There's rotation at the wrists. There are double jointed elbows, and they can articulate to this degree, so that is really impressive. Each of the arms has a bicep swivel, and that will give you posing options. I certainly appreciate this aspect of the figure. The arms move backward and forward on these butterfly shoulder joints, and you can raise them up this far. However, you can't do a 360. The material prevents that. In terms of the head sculpt, the head articulates at the neck joint. It moves easily from side to side. You can get him to look up, you can get him to look down, and there is plenty of head tilting. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this review, and please tell all of your friends about this channel. I would certainly appreciate it. And I'll be back with more Star Wars content soon. But until we meet again, this has been the Emerald Enthusiast, and thanks for watching.